So I'm Frederik Marcil. I am actually the founder and CEO of Kube Innovation. It's a company I founded back in 2018, and we invented the first and only bite force measuring device in the world.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Oh, great. Could you explain to us why is bite force measurement important, and how did you create this invention?
Okay.
For device?
So bite force is really important for clinicians for many reasons. It's important to know if a patient has an excessive force, because knowing that, getting a number, they can adjust the treatment plan, and they can select different materials, different type of treatment design, ultimately to improve the quality of life of patients and guarantee the success of the treatment plan as well. So it's a new biometric standard that we're integrating into everyday dentistry, and we're hoping obviously to bring that to every single clinics in North America and in Europe, as a matter of fact.
Most people don't think about their bite force. What kinds of things does that affect in a person's life?
So the effect of a bite force, if for example it is deficient, so we're talking about a lower bite force, lower than 650 Newton. The main effect is going to be, yes, the quality of life of the patient, but it's going to be mainly because they can't eat what they want. You need 600 Newton to be able to eat a steak properly if we look in the literature and the science. Most people with missing teeth or wearing dentures especially are never going to be able to apply that kind of force. So without realizing it, they're changing their diet, that's affecting their quality of life, and it's really something they need to realize, and the only way they can do that is by measuring the bite force.
How did you decide to focus on this? Do you have a background in medicine, or a personal experience with a relative, or?
Absolutely. So it's an interesting story. The reason why I decided to focus on inventing a medical device in dentistry, measuring bite force, that's something that has never been done before. I was actually working in the aerospace industry before, which is completely separated. And so I was lucky enough to meet the father of one of my best friends, which I've moved out with. And over a pizza, while we were moving all the stuff, the furniture, he said, "Fred, I wish I could measure the bite force of my patient to explain them why, and show to them with a number, like a thermometer, why they need dental implants." And I said, well, I can't believe that doesn't exist already. So I did my research, realized that nothing was in the market, and I said, well, you know what, I'm crazy enough, I'm going to try to invent it and bring it to the market, and here I am 7 years after.
That's awesome and amazing. So forgive me for not knowing the answer to this question already, but are you based in the United States, or?
So the company is based in Montreal, Canada, and that's where we produce the units, that's why we do all the engineering, the quality, so we're very proud to be a Canadian product, and we're now exporting in the US as well, and we're very excited about that too.
And how does that work with the technology and the device? Did you have to get FDA approval here?
Yeah, so that was, for the regulatory approval, that's something I had to learn. Not being in the industry before and being a first-time entrepreneur, I quickly realized that we needed regulatory clearance from both Health Canada and the FDA. And so the way we did that is we started with Canada because we were based there and it was easier. And following that, we filed for the FDA. So we entered the US market in, I believe, 2021. And I'm very excited to announce that we just received the regulatory approval for Europe now. So we're going to be starting to expand and going global as well with our innovation.
So if someone has a low bite force measurement, what are the next steps, or what would their clinician talk with them about? I think you mentioned implants,
yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
So for example, for a low bite force measurement, it's really important to first of all measure every patient coming in. Once we do have that measurement, then we can compare that to the biometric standard that we've created. Now, when we can see that there's a deficiency in the force, we can address that mainly with dental implants. So typically, people with no teeth are going to apply a really low bite force, like we're talking about 200 Newton, and remember that for a steak, it's about 600. So what they're going to do is they're going to look at whatever bone is left, they're going to try to place as many implants as possible, and that's going to give them backdoor force. It's really like a miracle because we can measure before, we see 200 Newton, and then we put the implants in, the new dentures, and then they can apply 650 Newton, which is a life-changing event. And when the patients they realize that and they see that, you can see in their face, they're so impressed. It's such a difference, and then they can eat their steak after that. So it's really interesting. So this is the Unibite, this is the device we invented. So the way it works is I got my friend here that is basically replacing a patient. We insert the blue mouthpiece in the patient mouth. Usually there's going to be a bag on top of that. There's some guides where we can use it to position it, and then on the device we're going to be looking at the bite force. So I'm compressing now, and then you can see 103 Newton. That's the maximum bite force that that patient just applied, and that's how we measure bite force. So it's very easy and quick to use so that anybody can take a measurement. So the different applications for the bite force measurement, as we were talking before, you can have a deficient force. That's just kind of one side of the spectrum. The other spectrum is when the force is excessive. So an excessive force is anything over 1,000 Newton. Now in that cases, it really varies in terms of the treatment plan recommendations, depending on what type of practice the dentists are running. But what we can typically see is a lot of dentists are going to prescribe appliances therapy to all of these patients that are applying over 1,000 Newton to help them reduce their bite force over time and especially protect their natural teeth when they're sleeping. What we also saw post-pandemic is, and it's been documented in science, is that there's a lot more people grinding and clenching now because, well, my hypothesis is that people are maybe a little bit more stressed post-pandemic. So again, very important to screen everyone, prescribe them with the right treatment plan. It can also be used, as we were mentioning before, to reduce the bite force with Botox injections here in the masseters, especially for people suffering from TMD or chronic pain. Often that's going to be a very effective way to reduce it, and we see patients going from 1,300 Newton in pain every day going down to 300 Newton after the Botox injection. So it's a very effective treatment to reduce the bite force.
We're close to the end of the year, heading into 2023. What are you most looking forward to in the year to come?
So I'm very excited about next year because, first of all, on a personal note, we're going global. So we're going to start being in Europe. That's very exciting for me. That's a huge milestone for the company as well. But also, more generally in dentistry, I think the digital transition is going to keep going, keep growing. It's going to accelerate. And I think also something is going to work in our favor, and that's the fact that people are asking for more and more data from their dentist. So we can help them providing a new biometric standard, a quantity that justify why you need a new night guard, or why do you need a crown or dental implants, or why do we need to inject Botox in your masseters to reduce your excessive bite force to prevent wear and chronic pain. So I think it's going to be a really great year for us and for dentists in general.